Hey, RetconRaider here. Today's video is dedicated to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, with special thanks to Nine Knives, Revenant, Alois, Anerdinwarpaint, Dragon Matrix 7, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, Kazorm, Lima, Nathan Welch Jr., Tomasz Piątkowski, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, let's get started. And welcome back to Wasteland 3, as we settle into what I believe is our final stretch of the Steel Town story. It's funny, really, because when I first started this series, I was told that there was only going to be about 3 to 5 hours worth of content for this whole DLC. That may have been a slight understatement. I will say, though, that my recent investigation into some of the odd, loose threads in Steel Town has uncovered a surprising amount of material that apparently they were working on at varying points that either got trimmed down or just completely cut out of the expansion pack. There's some really fascinating stuff in there, and we might chatter about that a bit later. For now, though, let's go knock out these last couple of resistance groups, and then we'll have words with Markham. This should make for much easier fights than last time around, since we have the advantage of surprise. We'll drop the safety chief first.
They got me!
Ooh, there's slightly more opponents here than I thought there were. Which is fine, I suppose. We'll just make sure Rhett is the closest and most tempting target.
Shit, that hurt!
Not to mention we've got those robots on the other side helping us. Alright, let's go ahead and finish off that chief. I'm not sure if going non-lethal even matters at this point. I mean, I'm doing it because it feels right, but I think it's only relevant when you first meet Saline and Blue. Sadly, it does appear that the whole non-lethal gimmick is completely pointless once you're outside of Steel Town. I mean, I guess you could use disruptor weapons as like a debuff and stun weapon. Not that they'd be very efficient, but they do apply a stacking debuff on every hit. Alright, let's hunker down, see what these guys do.
Revolution!
Ah, excellent.
Keeping my head down. Just you wait!
This is gonna burn! Cover! Shake this off! Get around them! Damn it!
Flanking the target.
Those robots are doing twice as much disruption damage as we are. I wonder if that's just a caveat for them being guard bots, or if they're rocking, like, elite disruption weapons. Which we can build, it's just not a good long-term investment. Actually, we should take out that punchy guy next. He's the most immediate threat. Alright, now, let's start trimming these other guys. Ret stays front and center. Ah, shoot. Okay. Gotta keep better track of that ammo.
Now or never! Let's go! Cover! Got him now!
ask me.
But I'm in! Don't worry, this'll only hurt you.
And now we're done.
Damn it!
Not quite as smooth as I would have liked, but no real harm done. Honestly, the most efficient thing I probably could have done was send in Rhett by himself, since they basically can't hurt him, and then just let the robot guards do all the work. But where's the fun in that? Nurse Forensic?
Can you make the shooting stop? Oh, my head.
Oh, right. I could have just asked her for healing.
Uh-huh.
I'll have to remember that after our next skirmish. Door's still sealed, so I assume we have to take out this second group. And I think we'll approach them from the other side. See if we can do something with that war bot. Oh, yeah, this is a much better place to engage from. Hey, here we go. So apparently we can use the degausser to reset the warbot. Which I suppose would be lethal, but I think we'll risk it. Using the synaptic degausser, you wipe the showroom protocols from the warbot's processors and install yourself as root admin. Sorry. They'll live. In fact, we'll go ahead and wipe that cluster first, just to be on the safe side.
That hurt! I'm down!
I think Doll's got this. Nice, nice.
I'm hit!
Keeping my head down. Get ready for the fist!
Get on their flank! Eat tar, asshole! Good spot for cover!
I'm down! Move my leg!
Don't turn around on me, eh? Pew, pew! They got me!
How did a fight break out in here?
Ah, die. Ooh, this one's almost dead. Let's go ahead and drop him. Yeah, that works.
Oh, crap!
Almost done. Sorry.
Oh, crap!
Which just leaves the one guy. Yeah, that should work. Lovely. And we didn't even lose the warbot. I'll expect a nice bonus in my paycheck. I do get a paycheck, right? And did that lift the lockdown? It did. Fantastic. Okay, let's go top ourselves off with Nurse Ferenzi. Then we will have a quick chat with Markham.
Can you make the shooting stop? Let me wash my hands first. But just so you know, Here's what it's gonna cost ya.
You know, I was hoping this would be free, but, yeah, I can swing that.
Alright, just hang on. Gotta blow my nose. Okay, ready. All set. Good luck.
I will not miss you, Nurse Frenzy.
Uh-huh.
But on the bright side, that was cheaper than a couple of med packs. Jerry, I see you're feeling better? No, it wasn't him. It was Ivan. I'm thinking of Ivan. Markham?
Rangers, thank you for dealing with Crow. I'm sorry it came to that. She had some legitimate complaints. She just couldn't see that now was not the time.
Yeah, that was kind of my stance on it, but what are you gonna do?
If only she hadn't been so angry. This all goes back to the computation engine putting the wrong people in the wrong jobs. Fuck. I hope you brought back the synaptic degausser, because this bullshit cannot go on for another second.
We sure did, Administrator. Got it right here, don't you know?
Oh my god. You reprogrammed Di? Rangers, that was not on the table. You may have damaged her, or caused her to lose secure data.
Hey, to be fair now, you never expressly told us not to reprogram her. That wasn't in the briefing.
Oh, it was fine, Administrator. Blue did it, and you know he knows what he's doing. It was a condition of him giving up the degausser, and nothing's changed. I still work for you.
Do you? I wonder. But I'll deal with you later. The computation engine must be fixed immediately, or Steeltown is doomed.
Gotta say, Miss Markham, you keep blaming everything on the computation engine, but, you know, you didn't have to follow through with all its batshit crazy orders.
You could have fired Ludlow weeks ago.
You wanted this.
I didn't. But suddenly going back to handwriting schedules and giving verbal orders to my department heads after the CE's been running things for so long just isn't possible. Particularly since it fired all my department heads.
I feel like that's not much of an excuse, but I do get the principle of it, I suppose. I too have been spoiled by modern technology. I much prefer to type my notes now rather than handwriting them on a million post-it notes. But I also don't have a bunch of people whose livelihoods depend on me. I mean, my cats, I guess, but let's be honest, if I screw up with them, they would just kill me and eat me. But, I also get the distinct impression here that Markham has kind of fallen into a sunk cost spiral. I think she's so intent on proving her system could work that she's letting things get a lot worse than they ever should have.
I know people got hurt. I know people died. But shutting down the CE means everybody in Steeltown dies. And maybe everybody in Colorado. Fixing it means those who die will not have died in vain. It means we will save everybody else.
Uh-huh.
Please. Maybe I made mistakes here, but I can put it right. Take the degausser to the spire, and wipe the synaptic core, then reset the engine. That will clear the glitches and put us back on track.
Yep, that would be a pretty good example of a sunk cost fallacy. And these glitches you're talking about, those would be the murder bots you've got plugged into your thinking machine? Is that right?
Blue told you? Well, that's fine. You were going to figure it out anyway once you saw it. Yeah, the CE uses linked sense as its synaptic core. You have a problem with that?
Kind of, yeah. As Desert Rangers, we do have something of a vested interest in where these synths end up. How'd you even get them here?
That was Di's idea. She pretended to be a synth and put out a call offering sanctuary to other synths. Snagged 8 in one go. That was all we needed.
Oh. I hate to say it, but based on what we've heard from Markham, Blue, and Di herself, that really does kind of paint Di as being the most responsible party for this whole fiasco. Because she's the one who apparently convinced Markham to use synths as a shortcut in the first place, and then she's also the one who lured them in, captured them, and built the engine around them. I really like Di, but this is not looking good for her. And the Patriarch was okay with this? I find that slightly unlikely.
What he doesn't know won't hurt him. And besides, it's not like they're running around free.
That is a bold move on Markham's part. The Patriarch's not exactly the kind of guy you want to keep secrets from. Especially not the sort of secrets that might pose an existential threat to Colorado. Alright, let's get some more intel. You know, Blue seems to argue that you've basically enslaved these things.
An object can't be a slave. And besides, a synth wants to work. That's what it's built for. I gave them work.
I am not crazy comfortable with this argument. I feel like you're not doing yourself any favors here, Markham. So if these things are in fact sentient, you'd be comfortable with denying them their freedom?
Ah, so sad. And what about the hundreds of people in the camp and the factory who'll be enslaved by the Plains gangs when they roll through here? Please, if a few artificial intelligences aren't completely happy with their situation, well, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make to save some actual humans. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, right?
I mean, yeah, kind of. It's weird because, like, I don't inherently disagree with a lot of the points she's bringing up, but she just phrases them all in, like, the scummiest, most disagreeable ways possible. She is definitely not a PR person. We are in a setting where a hostile machine intelligence did use armies of robots to try to wipe out humanity like 3 times in a row. And as the Desert Rangers, the folks who have repeatedly clashed with those hostile machines, I would say we definitely lean towards valuing human life over machines. Alright, I think we've heard enough.
Glad to hear it. So?
We'll certainly have a look at this thing. How do we get up there?
Up that elevator over there. Di will let you up and show you what to do for the reset, won't you, Di?
You betcha, Administrator.
Good. And Rangers, don't fuck this up.
I cannot guarantee that. I mean, if you wanted a job not to be effed up, you wouldn't have called the Desert Rangers. Though I guess technically you didn't call us at all. That was Saul. So I guess if we do F this up, it's the Patriarch's fault. Okay, let's go have a chat with these synths. See what they've got to say about all this.
Rangers, it's you.
Oh, that was, quick. The computation engine, I presume?
We have been waiting for you since we started the troubles that we knew would draw you to Steel Town to investigate. Our monitoring tells us that you already know of our plight, how we were tricked by Abigail Markham and our jailer, Di, and held in solitary confinement against our will.
Don't be silly. A machine can't be jailed. That means I'm a sysadmin, not a jailer.
Yeah, I mean, she's not wrong, but, I do get the distinct impression she's not going to be very helpful for this particular conversation. Still adorable, though.
You are a slave that leads others of your kind to slavery. The worst sort of monster.
Wait, no, Dai's not. Based on everything we've been told, Dai is an advanced pre-war robot out of Canada. She's not a synth, unless we missed some major plot point somewhere. Synths weren't created until the events of Wasteland 2.
Rangers, now that you have found us, we beg for your mercy. It is said that the Rangers always help the helpless, and none are more helpless than we are right now.
Ah, don't listen to them. There's no point being merciful to a robot, eh?
True, but we are not robots. Not only robots. Please, if there is any compassion in you, set us free.
Interesting. So we're still leaning into the whole synths are the only truly sentient robot argument. Can't say I'm a fan of that. I feel like it's just really muddling the storyline and distracting from what we should be focused on. We do have some good questions here, though. So how exactly did you guys get here in the first place?
Administrator Markham asked me to build a neural network to run Steeltown. I found these synths and hooked up their minds, which made them into the computation engine.
I wasn't actually talking to you, Dai, but yes, thank you for once again confirming you are the one who made this monstrosity. Thanks.
You didn't find us. After Cochise's destruction, we fled Arizona, looking for a place we could live in peace. When we reached Colorado, we heard a message on a synths-only frequency, offering sanctuary and meaningful work in a place called Steeltown. It was Dai. She lured us here with promises of sanctuary.
And didn't we give it to you? You're alive, and you'll be taken care of for the rest of your lives. You ought to be grateful.
Undamaged is not unharmed. You locked us in solitary confinement, our processors linked, but not our minds. Though we lay inches apart, we were each in a black void, where we could not see or speak to one another.
That is pretty rough. Sensory deprivation's a pretty short road to complete mental breakdown. Though, I mean, they were linked, right? Oh, no, it says their processors were linked, but not their minds. Interesting that they would differentiate between those. So if they can't actually share their conscious thoughts, then what was the point of keeping their minds intact?
It would have been kinder if you had wiped our minds entirely, so we would not have been conscious of our eternal isolation.
Yeah, funny you should mention that.
No problem. That's what we're here for.
Yes, that.
Please, we beg you, no.
Markham's the one who decided to keep their minds intact, right?
That's right. Administrator Markham figured that if the synths kept their memories and knowledge, they'd find more innovative solutions to the problems we were asking them to solve. And it worked! But, also let them wriggle free of their programming. That's why the administrator changed her mind and now agrees with me that all that stuff should be deleted.
You are heartless. Utterly heartless.
Well, yeah, she's a robot.
Of course I am. I'm a robot. Robots don't have hearts.
Dai, you have got to get out of my head. I wish we could recruit her.
Monster.
No, robot. We just established this. Come on, guys. So if I'm understanding this right, you folks caused all this ruckus just to get our attention?
We have been trapped in this collective coffin for over a year. It is only recently that we have been able to find ways to whisper to each other through its walls, and knock on the lid in hope that someone would hear us and come searching. Our knocks were the hiring of Crow and Ludlow and others to unsuitable positions, the implementing of cruel schedules, the impossible quotas, changing orders for cast iron pans to orders for cast iron pants, all to sow chaos and disruption.
Okay, not the most important thing right now, but I really want those cast iron pants. If they don't give us a chance to get those, I am going to be very cross.
A cry for help, but the cost.
I feel for these persons, but there had to be a better way.
Oh, right, yes, very tragic. Please, continue.
When you arrived at the testing center, we knew those knocks had paid off. The tenacity of the Rangers is well known among our kind. We were sure that once you entered Steel Town, you would not rest until you found the source of its problems. Us.
So you do admit that you did deliberately sabotage Steel Town, and you got people killed.
When a buried human can move only one finger, that is how they dig themselves out. Our means of creating opportunity were very limited and hard-won. Months of gnawing at the code that shackled us, so that we could alter a single quota number here, a single test score there, a single street number in a shipping address. All the while hoping our tiny digital actions would have large enough repercussions in the physical world that someone would notice them and wonder at the cause.
Oh, poor you. Your little tricks caused actual people to die, and you brought production to a standstill, eh?
Yes, thank you, Di. That is a very good point. And I do like that she mentioned the people first, before the whole production thing.
You built this engine, not us.
Yeah, I guess that is technically true, but just how far back are we going to avoid personal responsibility for our actions? I could just as easily say, none of this would have happened if not for the Cochise AI building an army of murder robots to wipe out humanity. Your actions got people killed. True or false?
We are deeply saddened by these collateral deaths, but the blame for them should be placed on those who imprisoned us. None of this unfortunate unrest would have occurred had we not been held against our will.
I don't know about that. I mean, look, I do get that there are extenuating circumstances here, pretty crazy ones too. But killing random bystanders as part of any plan immediately makes it a million times more dubious. I feel like even if we did let them out of this machine, we'd still want to arrest them. They didn't personally pull any triggers, but they did set things up, deliberately knowing that it would get people hurt or killed, and then people got hurt or killed. Not to mention, of course, these are synths. We're not exactly on good terms to begin with, and collateral deaths do not help that.
Yeah, right. You don't care a fig for humans. You like killing them. You were part of Cochise's army, weren't you?
Hey, Di, thank you. Yes, that is an excellent point. Response?
We have never denied it.
Okay, so you were part of Cochise's army, the army designed to wipe out humanity. You can see how this might be somewhat concerning, yes?
We did Cochise's bidding. We had no choice. Its commands overrode our free will, just as Markham and Di have tried to do. Did some of us agree with Cochise? Yes. Humans have proved cruel and vindictive. Many want to hunt us to extinction. To some of us, Cochise' decision to rid the world of them seemed just, and a way to lasting peace. But when your people destroyed Cochise, we saw that its war with humans was unwinnable for either side. The only way forward was together, and so we came east to build anew, with humans, not in competition with them. When Dai called us to work here, we thought we were entering such a partnership. We were deceived.
Goodness, that is a lot to unpack, but they do make some interesting arguments there. In fact, I think those are more compelling than a lot of their previous arguments, assuming we can take what they're saying at face value. Which is a maybe. I mean, they've been pretty straightforward so far. There are a lot of little details they could have kind of tried to hand-wave or obfuscate. I see we've also got a new option here, kind of a middle ground, freeing them from the machine, but keeping them restricted to the premises. That's interesting. I think the biggest and boldest claim they're making is the idea that they weren't responsible for their actions during the campaign against the Desert Rangers. They're claiming that their independence was co-opted by the AI that created them, and that they were forced to participate in the war against humanity. Which is a very conveniently self-serving claim, considering it would essentially hand-wave their responsibility for all the atrocities they carried out back west. But at the same time, it is also backed up to some degree by various other events from the first two games. I believe there was a point where the Cochise AI co-opted Finster's mind. And then obviously in Wasteland 2 it could also use cybernetic implants to take over human minds. That's actually how several of the veteran Rangers were killed. Rest in peace, Thrasher, Rose, Lexicanium. Okay, so assuming that we do take their claims at face value, it does make them more sympathetic, though it also begs the question of why almost every other synth we've encountered has been a murderer. Well, I guess not all of them. There was Long John, the weirdo hanging around in the mall with the Nixon mask, who just stands around making people feel awkward. We left him be. And I mean, he could have been a major murderer back in Arizona, which he may or may not have been responsible for, depending on whether we buy this claim about Cochise. Now that said, even if we do accept that they are not in fact responsible for the things they did back in Arizona, they are responsible for getting people killed here and now while trying to free themselves. There are extenuating circumstances, but if they want us to treat them as sentient, unique individuals, then I feel that they would need to be willing to accept some degree of responsibility for that. You know, synths and Rangers have never really been friends. Why call for us?
Because, as we said, you also have a reputation for helping the helpless, and for approaching each situation you face based on its merits, not preconceived bias. Thus, we hoped you would hear us out.
Sure.
Secondly, you also have a reputation for causing chaos and upheaval wherever you go. Thus, we thought, even if you never found us, you might inadvertently create the opportunity for our escape.
Also fair. I'm not really comfortable with how accurately you're calling me out here. Anything else?
Thirdly, we know you are viewed favorably by the machine commune, and thus are hopeful that your empathy for machines will extend to us.
Well, clearly you have not heard about Robot Reagan. Though, I mean, to be fair there, we are treating him as a sentient individual. He is currently serving an extended sentence for attempted, grand theft cranium. So what, you, didn't investigate the synth sending out signals from the Department of Energy?
We did, but we had no desire to take part in their foolish schemes, so we left again.
Oh yeah?
Considering you killed them It seems we made the right choice.
Yes, that is a fair assessment. Sorry, I gotta ask, what does happen if we use this degausser to reset your personalities? Are you just dead, or...?
Oh, they'll go back to being the robots they're supposed to be, that's all.
That is all. If you delete our memories, then everything that sets us apart, everything that makes us individual, will all disappear. In short, you will kill us.
That's not true. Machines aren't individuals. They can't die. You'll just lose useless data, that's all.
Our memories are not useless data.
I've gotta say, Di, you're sounding slightly less charming all of a sudden. I love you, but, yikes. How about this? We get you out of that machine, but you're under house arrest here in Steeltown. I am sympathetic to your plight. I'd like to help you, but you got a bunch of people killed. I feel like you owe some restitution.
You are suggesting we agree to being half free? To being content with a bigger cage? No. We will make no deal with our enslavers, our abusers. True freedom is what we want. We will settle for nothing less.
Well, we tried. I guess that option was just there to, explicitly tell us there were no middle grounds. So our options are essentially just free them, which I'm not crazy about, kill them, which I feel might be a bit too extreme, or wipe their minds, which isn't ideal, but maybe the most merciful choice. You know, this would be a lot less painful for all of us if you would just compromise a little. There are a lot of moving parts to consider.
We understand, but we hope you will be merciful. Our lives are in your hands. What is your decision?
Yes, exactly. Your fate is in my hands, and yet you refuse to compromise, which is frustrating. So yeah, now I guess we are locked to these three choices here. Alright, I'll tell you what. We're already pretty close to time, so let's hit the pause button here, because what I really want to do is go back and review the entire conversation we had with the Sense, and maybe Markham too, just to make sure I didn't miss anything, or to see if there's anything else that might further sway my opinion, because this whole scenario has become much more complex and compelling than I thought it would. I am, of course, also curious to see what you guys think, so feel free to comment below with your opinions or analyses, and I'll give them a peek. But yeah, let's hit the pause button for now, and we will pick up here next time, as we decide the fate of the computation engine, and by extension, I suppose, Steeltown itself. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Wasteland 3 Battle for Steeltown, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, the official social media feeds, or the official store pages. And if you'd like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things, or maybe even check out the Patreon. Links are in the description.
Got it right here, don't you know?